Waiting. We're close. Connecting. There she is.
Yay.
God, I think I do like a compilation of people at the beginning of these videos just as they get started because I think it's probably really funny because
I mean, and I've done this before, but I didn't remember how to start.
well,
That joke is just pervading my life right now of all the things I forget every day.
look, it is what it is. We are where we are these days. We're all just doing our very best.
Yes.
I'm excited that we're doing this. I'm going to read a little intro because you're really fancy. Listen to this, everyone. Lisa Genova is the New York Times best-selling author of novels Still Alice, Left Neglected, Love Anthony, Inside the O'Briens, and Every Note Played. Her novel Still Alice was, of course, adapted into the movie starring Julianne Moore and many others. It was so incredible and so powerful. She graduated as a valedictorian from Bates College with degrees in biopsychology and holds a PhD in neuroscience from Harvard. She travels around speaking all about neurological diseases. She's had multiple TED Talks, right? And you're about to have another one, I think. Did I see that?
Yeah, next week.
I think her most prestigious honor is that she's a member of HFC's Science Advisory Board, and that she is actually joining us for the second time today as our guest on our IG Lives. You can watch our previous conversation on our IGTV or on our YouTube page. But what we're talking about today is her new book. It is her first work of nonfiction. It's called Remember, the Science of Memory and the Art of Forgetting. It was an instant New York Times bestseller. It is fascinating. It includes anecdotes and great insights. It has a very personal aspect to memory. It is so powerful and also informative and entertaining, which is, I think, a feat in its own. Thank you, Lisa, so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lauren. It's so good to be with you again. It really is.
So fun. I mean, so congratulations. It seems like it's being received so well, which is so exciting.
Yeah, it really is. And it's like, in writing it, the intention was to strike the right tone so that this does not feel academic or like homework or like it's not dense with terminology. It's really intended to feel like a friendly conversation so that it's just helpful to everyday people to understand how our memories work. Why do I forget things? What's going on here?
Right. Yeah. And were you I'm sure you've talked to so many people about your book, which involves your previous books. Like, did the idea of this evolve from conversations you had with people and questions you were asked?
Yeah. And so, I mean, you're out there trying to educate the world as well, right? So I've been trying to talk about Alzheimer's to people all over the world for the past decade or so. And I've been using Still Alice as the platform to begin that conversation about this really scary, it's kind of taboo subject.
Yeah.
And I found over and over through the years, without exception, anytime I'd give a talk, the conversation would start with Alzheimer's, but then it would migrate over to what actually is normal everyday forgetting. But people don't understand that it's normal. They're worried that every time they walk into a room and don't know why they went in there, or they, can't remember what to do later unless they write it down, or I'm forgetting names. So right. All of these things, if you're over the age of 40, definitely if you're 50 and beyond, it starts to make people panic stricken and really stressed and afraid that they've got a disease lurking in their brains.
Yeah.
And so you and I are really out there trying to get people to, understand what Alzheimer's looks like and how to prevent it. But I think if people are out there thinking that they've already secretly got it, like it's like, oh, it's already too late for me. Like I'm already forgetting all these things. So it's kind of helpless and hopeless. And it's just kind of like people are scared, but also resigned. And so what I would do is like people would corner me in the ladies' rooms or in the book signing line, and they'd confess all of these moments of forgetting that are actually so normal it's like the price of owning a human brain.
Right.
And so I would quickly explain like, no, that's normal. Like 20-year-olds do this, but they don't notice because they're 20. Right. And so I would see the relief wash over them. And I mean, it was really transformational to watch in in live like conversation, like, oh, I don't have to worry about forgetting people's names. No,
Right.
never. You never have to worry about, like, if your names go missing, that is not a symptom of Alzheimer's. Nope. You can even Google it and it won't make your memory any weaker. So I was like, oh, I'm giving this education to one person in a ladies' room at a time. Like, I think that if I write this down and give it to the world, like, I can, help, like, memory can be really stressful. And I think people's relationships with it, it can be one of very much stress and anxiety.
Absolutely.
And if I can maybe help people change that, then A, it helps improve their lives today. And B, it can help us talk about Alzheimer's in a way that's like not as panic stricken, and we can understand the distinction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
God, of course, like so many people are constantly like, I'm worried about my memory. I'm worried about my memory. I'm scared. I'm not going to get Alzheimer's. And I'm like, you're not, you're fine. You're a human that has a normal brain that is doing what it does. Okay. But
yes. And at the same time, we want to, we're out there promoting brain health and what you can do to prevent Alzheimer's in the future. So we want both things. It's like, everything's such a duality, right? Like we want to care and be concerned about, the health of our memory, but we don't want to be afraid and worried. And so we want to be like, this book should hopefully help people have a realistic understanding of like what the real expectations are of your memory and what's healthy and what's normal. And it's not perfect, people. Like our brains are not designed to remember people's names, what to do later, or to catalog everything we encounter. They're not built to do that. So when we ask it to do that and then we think we failed and we get all judgy and upset with ourselves, we're not really playing fair. So
right. Well, I like how you say, we wear glasses.
Yeah.
Like we don't worry about, oh God, I suddenly I need glasses to see. I mean, it's
right. So we use to-do lists, right? So your memory for what you need to do later is it's so poorly designed in our brains. I actually call it a kind of forgetting rather than a kind of memory. Yeah. So it's I need to remember to pick up the dry cleaning, which I needed to do and forgot to do so far today. Like, I need to call my mom, return the library book, take my medication, call and make a doctor's appointment. People think they're cheating by writing it down or making to-do lists, you're not. Unless the right cue is there at the right moment, you will forget that. You will. And so this is why airline pilots use checklists to lower the wheels of the plane before landing. They don't rely on their brains because prospective memory is so fallible. It's like you cannot rely on it. So it's people are, all over thinking, oh, I need to-do lists or I won't remember what to buy at the grocery store. Yeah. Yes. That does not mean you're getting Alzheimer's. That's just good practice.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
In the introduction to your book, you kind of get right to it. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. The penny in their mind's eye, and maybe you could walk us through that exercise, because I think that could be really fascinating for people.
Okay, yeah. So, I think there's also, the book also just helps people understand what is memory? How do we make one? And so I think there's this misconception out there that your memory is like a video camera and it's just recording a constant stream of every sight and sound you encounter. And that's just not even close to true. We're bombarded with sensory information all day and emotional and information and all kinds of content, but we can only remember what we pay attention to. Otherwise it's gone. Right. So like if you're ever driving a familiar stretch of road, you've seen it, been there, done that. If it's same old is like the kiss of death to memory, which is one of the reasons why a lot of us might feel foggy this past year, because we've all been doing the same exact thing and Tuesday is Saturday. But if you don't pay attention to something, it leaves your present moment. You don't form a lasting memory of it. So we've all seen a penny thousands of times, right? Or actually, young people might not have. People don't use money anymore. But I'm 50. I've seen a penny thousands of times. If you've seen think of some coin. I used a penny. You've seen it. You know what a penny looks like, right? Yeah. Well, whose face is on the head of the penny? Which direction is he facing? Where are the words "In God We Trust"? Where's the date? Like if you can't recall these things from memory, and yet you remember what a penny looks like. Or do you? Like, what's going on here? And it's that we don't remember the details because unless you're a coin collector, you never paid close attention to them. It doesn't affect your ability to spend it. So it just, you never formed a memory of it to begin with. So
Right.
the reason you can't find your glasses, your phone, your keys, where you parked your car, I would argue that probably 99 point something percent of the time when you lose those things and you're blaming your memory and you're like, I have the worst memory, I can't keep track of anything. You never involved your memory in the first place, because the first necessary ingredient in forming a memory that's going to last longer than this present moment is attention. And we're all so busy, and we're like reading the text, right? Our heads are in the phones and we're doing it, we're talking, we're going. And if you don't slow down and just take that split moment, I'm putting my glasses here, then your brain can't keep it. So it's gone. It's like you can drive over a bridge. I use this example. I can drive over a bridge, a 4-lane colossal structure. And because I've driven over that bridge a million times, and because I'm probably lost in thought or listening to an audiobook, so my attention is pulled elsewhere, I'll be 10 minutes after the bridge and wonder, did I already go over the bridge? Right? We do this, right? Like, where am I? How did I just not have any memory of the last 10 minutes of driving? Right? Your eyes are open, but you don't keep it unless you pay attention to it. That's why those things go missing.
Yeah, I remember in one of my very first screenwriting classes, one of the first exercises the teacher said and had us do was, okay, everyone drove here this morning. What are 3 specific things you remember from your drive along the way? And everyone's like, because you weren't paying attention. You know, not but for me personally, to be a good writer, you need to be paying attention. To be a good friend, you need to be paying attention.
I know. It seems to be the lesson in so many things, right? I mean, and I was just listening to Amy Cuddy's book, Presence, and she's actually talking about Julianne Moore being present in her acting roles. And so, yes, like when you learn your lines, you learn them, but then you're supposed to put them away, right? And just be present to and available to what's going on in the moment. So yeah, this is like, and it's twofold, folks. So like, if you can like try to have moments of slowing down when you're putting something somewhere, you might want to remember where you've put this. Have a conscious moment, like Lisa Genova told me to slow down for a sec. There it is. And then you can move along. But it also just helps you, like, you know, take a breath there. Like, breathe in through your nose and out through your nose for just one cycle, and you will calm down. The frenetic pace of our or like going through the day like that, it's not good for our ability to remember things now and later.
No, it's definitely not. I want to give some people some practical tips for memory. I have my list here. Let's talk about sleep, which we've talked about before. Get into it. What happens to our brains during sleep?
Okay, so this is really cool. I think it's like, because, you know, we've been doing this to you all, right? You gotta get your sleep, and it's like, it's so easy to ignore in some ways, or to feel bad about, like, oh, I'm not getting enough sleep, and like, I should be punished, I'm failing the sleep quiz kind of thing. But I think understanding what's going on while you sleep can help sort of solidify why it should be a priority for your brain health and for your memory. And I'm going to talk about some things you can do to help improve your quality of sleep and quantity of sleep. Okay, so when you're sleeping, this is not an unconscious state of doing nothing. You're very biologically busy, especially in your brain. So while you sleep, the neural connections that compose the memory of the stuff you learned and the stuff that happened are being linked together to form that memory by your hippocampus while you sleep. So your hippocampus is a part of your brain. It's like deep in the middle there, and it's the little engine that helps link and connect all of those neural connections, making that neural circuit that will be the memory. So it's, oh, I remember today, it was the example I use in the book is, oh, it's the first day of summer, I remember, and Lady Gaga's new song was playing, and the kids were playing soccer, and we had wine and oysters and s'mores. There was a bonfire, and one of the kids got stung by a jellyfish. Like, That you solve that with meat tenderizer, not peeing on it. I live on Cape Cod. We know these things.
Meat tenderizer.
I know, it works. So meat tenderizer and a jellyfish has nothing to do with Lady Gaga, unless it's a memory in my brain of something that happened. So those very different things, like the taste of wine, the sound of Lady Gaga, the sight of the jellyfish sting, like those things live in different parts of my brain, but they become connected as a neural circuit that can then be retrieved later and shared with you on Instagram, because my hippocampus wove that together while I was asleep. So if I don't get a full night's sleep, my hippocampus might not have enough time to do its full job. And so your memories of what happened yesterday won't be fully formed today. Another awesome thing that happens while you sleep is you get restored enough to pay attention the next day. And what do you need to form new memories today? Attention. So if I'm dragging myself around because I didn't get a good night's sleep, what did you say? Like, I can't remember what you said because I wasn't able to pay attention.
Right.
So I'm going to have a hard time remembering what happened yesterday. I'm going to have a hard time making new memories today. And then the third important thing that happens while you sleep in terms of memory is that your glial cells in your brain, glial cells are the sewage and sanitation department of your brain. They're the janitors. And while you sleep in slow wave deep sleep, they're clearing away all the metabolic debris that accumulated during the business of being awake. And one of the things that clears away is amyloid beta. Now, amyloid, if it doesn't get cleared away, it's sticky and it binds to itself and forms plaques. And if too many plaques pile up, you've just triggered the beginning of Alzheimer's. This does not happen overnight. You do not have to freak out if you had a bad night's sleep last night, like, I'm gonna trigger Alzheimer's today. It can take like 15 to 20 years, but so it takes a long time. So that's good news. And we have time to do something about it.
Yeah.
So how do we get better sleep? I know this is tough. Like if you're raising children, if you're going through menopause, if you're caregiving, if you're stressed, there's a million reasons why we're having trouble sleeping. But there are things you can do. Matthew Walker wrote a great book on this in a TED Talk. So I definitely recommend those. But just really quickly, your body temperature needs to decrease by a couple of degrees. Make sure it's not too hot in your room. Caffeine. Caffeine is actually great for memory today. Caffeine boosts your attention, so it helps you form new memories. But you want to be careful of when you have that last latte of the day, right? Because the half-life of caffeine is about 5 hours. We all metabolize a little differently. Half-life means the amount of caffeine still present 5 hours later is half the original dose. So if I have a cappuccino at 7 at night, I'm going to still have like 35 milligrams of caffeine buzzing around in my brain, competing with adenosine, keeping me awake. So have your, and find out where that is for you. For me, I can't have any past 2 in the afternoon or I'll be up.
Yeah.
Get off your screens earlier in the evening if you can. Like that light is telling your brain, it's daytime, it's daytime. And so the chemicals and hormones in your brain are saying, nope, don't go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then you shut your phone off and want to instantly fall asleep. It's hard for your brain to know what the heck just happened.
Yeah.
Data dump, right? If you're a worrier and your thoughts keep you up, write it down before you go to bed. Keep a little journal there and be like, I'm worried about this. Don't solve the problems. Just write them down. I'm worried about this. I'm scared about that. Tomorrow I have to do these million things. Close it. It helps you. Like you've had your say, and then you can help you get to sleep. There's lots of other things people can do with the timing of melatonin, and you can research all of that. That's a whole other conversation. But sleep's super important. And like the other thing I will say to folks is all the sleep deprivation that you've had in your life is water under the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Like don't say, oh, I've already ruined it for myself because I'm a bad sleeper. No, like here you are today.
Right.
You've got your brain tonight. Like, what can we do now? What can we do now? Let's like make the next day, week, month, year, better slept than we've done in the past. We can improve on this. We can.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, Seth and I improved our sleep. We, a couple of years ago, and I've always loved sleep. I never had trouble sleeping. I'm a sleeper, but I wasn't getting good quality sleep. And we got a pad for our beds, which cools our room. I wear a mask every night. We listen to white noise all night. I little changes, and because I track my sleep, which any of you can do, we have a partnership with Whoop. You get your HFC Whoop band, and I've changed it. I've improved my sleep. It is actually possible. It is difficult.
Yeah. I love the tracking of it. I haven't done that yet, but I'd love to. And I think that helps people feel involved and like they have some influence that they can measure, right? It's like
Yeah.
kind of the Fitbit kind of thing. Like, oh, how am I doing?
Yeah.
A lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just think also, again, like once you realize that it's good for you and it's nothing to be, I think there was this kind of shame and guilt that go along with it if you're a good sleeper, the sense of like, oh, I like that you're not working hard enough or something, or that like you're there's this guilty pleasure, like, oh, I sleep like 9 hours a night. It's like good for you. Yeah, you don't have to feel guilty about sleeping.
We're getting close on time, but speaking of guilty pleasures, something you do talk about are things like wine and chocolate.
Yeah.
We could touch on those things.
Just really quickly, because no one's going to like me for this. But yeah, I don't know how these myths got started. I actually do. The media loves stuff like this. But it's like if you go back to the science, right? Like let's look at the real science. There's no science to support that red wine and specifically resveratrol, the ingredient in red wine, will decrease your amyloid plaques or improve your cognition. Like the amounts that they gave in mice, and the studies weren't even well done, but the amount would translate to something like 30, 40 glasses of wine. So no. And if you have too much alcohol, you're going to interfere with the quantity and quality of your sleep. You're going to eliminate your REM sleep. It's not great. But a little bit, if it helps relax you. We are super stressed, and chronic stress is bad for memory. You're going to have memory impairment and a shrunken hippocampus if you're chronically stressed without managing it.
Yeah.
So breathing.
So important.
Exercise accomplishes so much, especially go for a walk with a friend, right? If you can combine exercise with being socially engaged, so you're in conversation, you're stimulating your brain, you're not feeling as alone, you're moving your body. Moving your body is like up there with sleep in terms of good for your memory today and preventing Alzheimer's tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think that so many people get daunted by exercise. A few years ago when I was working a lot and I had sort of just fallen into a period of like many months of like not moving my body. And my doctor was like, you have to exercise and you need to move your body. And I was like, he's like, I want you to love exercise. And I was like, I will never love exercise. It's never going to happen. And it has, and I like working out now, and I feel good about it. But it's because I found what worked for me.
Yeah.
And that like people think, oh, I have to run a marathon or I have to do this crazy thing.
I will not run unless you're chasing me. I hate to run, but I'll walk my dog. Go for a walk. Yeah,
friend, chat, like and that
find something. Yeah. But so there's lots of tips for what you can do to improve your memory, and we talk about these all the time. I really am hoping to help people understand that forgetting can be normal, and most of the time is. Yeah. So like that's a huge relief I want to give to people because they're really stressed. Yeah. And the chronic stress is not good for us.
Yeah. And I'm just going to answer this question here about sleep aids like Ambien. Bad. You don't get good sleep on that. Lisa doesn't even have to answer it. You don't even need a doctor. I will tell you. Something that knocks you out doesn't give you quality sleep.
You're unconscious, but not the biologically busy stuff isn't happening properly. And that's what you need to have happen. But yeah, I want people to understand like what happens like when you walk into a room and you don't know why you're in there. Like, oh my God, I just went from my bedroom to the 20 seconds later to another room and I can't remember why I'm in here. Like, is my brain that bad? Is my memory that terrible? Right. No, like super quickly. When we make a memory of what we want to do or a memory for anything, it's all the things. It's what's going on inside us is available to be part of that memory. How you feel? Are you hungry? Are you caffeinated? Are you what's going on around you, the smells, the sights. So if in your bedroom and I need glasses to read and I don't have them with me, I'm like, oh, they're in the kitchen. So I go down to the kitchen. I'm like, why am I here? Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Because all the cues in the kitchen are misdirecting the hunt. They're like, no, this stuff all has to do with eating. Right. So I'm like, I don't know why I'm here. So if that happens, you don't panic. Either go back to the room you were in or just do it in your mind's eye. And the cues will be there like, oh, the bookcase, the book. Like, oh, I needed glasses because I need to read. Like that'll jump to mind. So a lot of people are like, oh, I can't remember much from my childhood. But if you went back to the neighborhood that you grew up in, whoosh, all the memories will come flooding back because the cues deliver the activation of that memory circuit.
Right.
So yeah, when you walk into rooms, it's not Alzheimer's. It's how
Right.
your brain is built.
And as we age, just as before we wrap up here, and as we age, can you touch on, you know, the normal process of forgetting as we age?
Yeah. So as we age, the real single big thing that happens is our processing speed slow. So it's, you know, like hard, like, oh, it's harder to find the memory or to pull it up fully, or it's like, just, you can almost feel like that little hamster on the wheel, like, come on, you can do it. So it feels a little sluggish, but it's still there. And so this is where I tell folks, you know, it's not all bad. This is where wisdom comes in. You don't lose the memories for the stuff that your semantic memories, like the Wikipedia of your brain. That stuff stays. You don't lose information. You don't lose memories for what happened. So the stuff combined with your life experience, that's your wisdom, folks. That comes with age. So you get that because you have accumulated memories that don't, go the way of the collagen in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so that's not all bad news. You will continue to have tip of the tongues. Oh, what's his name? What's the movie you told me to watch? Like all of those proper nouns that go missing, that happens throughout life. And it will increase a little as you get older because, again, it's like slower to find it. We get a little slower. But the information is there. And we're still able to learn. The example I use at the beginning of the book is Akira Haraguchi at 69 decided he was going to memorize pi and did it over 100,000 digits he memorized. You could do that too if you wanted, but so you're capable. It doesn't fill up. Your memory doesn't fill up. You throughout life, if you continue to be a lover of learning, and we promote that all the time for, avoiding Alzheimer's, like build a bigger, Alzheimer's resistant brain, learn new things. You can always learn new things. Your memory is limitless in what it's able to learn.
Amazing. That seems like the perfect note to end on. This is fantastic. The book is so useful and enjoyable, and I feel like much to be learned from it. So thank you for it, and congratulations on it. To everyone who joined us today, thank you for joining us. As always, HFC has a lot going on. We are currently running a virtual play right now called Elle s'envoie. It is absolutely gorgeous. I hosted a show over the weekend for some of my friends, and it was so beautiful and moving, and I couldn't recommend it more. It's interactive. They'll send you a box in the mail with stuff, and you'll interact with the actors. It's really extraordinary. And of course, if you're a caregiver and need support, go to our page and we have resources to help you. And Lisa, thank you again.
Thank you, Lauren. I want to learn how to make ceramic vases when this is over. Like, I want you to, they're so great.
I'll have you over for a lesson.
I love it.
It's honestly, it's the thing that helps us breathe and relax. And we've learned certainly enough,
All good things. Yeah, they're beautiful. Amazing.
So anyway, thank you again for joining us and for your amazing book. And thank you to everyone who joined us, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.